Hey there. You know, we all love a good spooky story this time of year, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, get this. We're diving deep into some really spine-tingling Halloween urban legends.
Ooh, I love a good urban legend, especially around Halloween.
Right, we're talking phantom hitchhikers, cursed masks, haunted houses that only come alive on Halloween night,
The classics.
the works. And we've got a stack of sources here, from folklore collections to first-hand accounts. Stuff that'll make you wonder what's really lurking out there in the shadows.
It is fascinating how these legends get passed down through generations, right? It's like they tap into our deepest fears and anxieties, especially around a holiday like Halloween, when that line between what's real and what's supernatural feels a little blurry.
It's true. There's just something about Halloween that makes everything feel a little more real. So let's unpack the classic phantom hitchhiker legend.
Okay.
Our sources mention this one pops up all over the US, but it's practically a rite of passage on Route 66.
Oh, yeah, Route 66, so many ghost stories.
Right. Imagine this. You're cruising down a dark, deserted stretch of highway.
Okay, I'm with you.
The isolation is palpable.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That feeling of being utterly alone, vulnerable.
And then, out of the darkness, a lone figure appears, thumbing a ride.
Ooh, spooky.
Our source even mentions specific spots on Route 66 where these encounters are reported most often.
Oh, really?
Almost like these spirits have favorite haunts.
Like they're drawn to those spots for some reason.
Right. It really makes you think.
What's truly intriguing to me is how these stories, while spooky on the surface, often tap into some deeper anxieties that I think a lot of us share.
Totally. Like what?
Well, a lot of researchers believe the phantom hitchhiker stories often stem from our fear of making the wrong choice. Like, do you stop and help, or you keep driving, potentially abandoning someone in need?
It's a tough call, especially late at night when you're alone.
It is. And then there's that added layer of the unknown, right? Is this a harmless person who's just stranded, or is it something else?
Because, of course, the hitchhiker always disappears.
Always.
Sometimes leaving behind a chilling clue, a personal item, a warning, or even the lingering scent of their favorite perfume.
I read this one account, and I think it was from our research, about a driver who picked up a hitchhiker on this foggy night.
Okay.
And get this, the hitchhiker vanished from the car, but left behind a worn leather glove on the passenger seat. Yeah. So later, the driver, just, going about their business, stopped at a local diner for a bite to eat.
Yeah.
Sees the same glove
What?
pinned to a memorial photo on the wall dedicated to a young woman who had died in a car accident on that very stretch of road years earlier.
Okay, now that's just chillin'.
Shelley.
It makes you wonder if these stories are cautionary tales, reminding us to be careful who we trust, especially on a night like Halloween when the veil is thin.
Perhaps they are. Or maybe they're a way to process our grief and anxieties about mortality.
Yeah.
Using the supernatural as a lens to explore those big, scary ideas.
Either way, it definitely adds a whole new layer of spookiness to those solo road trips.
For sure, I don't think I'll be picking up any hitchhikers anytime soon.
Me neither. Speaking of spooky, let's move on to another object steeped in unsettling lore, Halloween masks.
Oh, yes. Gotta love a good creepy mask story, right?
Oh, yeah. Our source material dives into some truly creepy tales about masks, particularly antique ones, potentially becoming vessels for spirits or negative energy.
It's true. Masks have always held a certain power. They conceal our identities. They allow us to embody different personas. I think they tap into something primal within us, don't you?
Definitely. And I think that's what makes this legend so terrifying. It's the idea that the mask itself can exert a kind of will influencing the wearer's thoughts and actions.
It's that loss of control, that fear of something else taking the reins. Our source mentions this really old Japanese no mask that was said to be possessed by the spirit of this jealous actor.
What happened?
Legend has it that anyone who wears the mask becomes consumed by envy and rage, often with tragic consequences.
There's a chilling parallel to that in one of our other sources. It talks about this young woman who found a beautiful porcelain mask in her grandmother's attic. She started wearing it around Halloween, but her friends noticed she'd become withdrawn, irritable, almost like a different person.
And the mask. What happened to the mask?
She claimed she couldn't bring herself to take it off.
Like it had some kind of hold on her.
It was like it had some kind of hold over her.
Yes.
Exactly. Eventually, her friends managed to remove the mask and she returned to her old self with no memory of her strange behavior, but the experience left them all deeply unsettled.
It's a stark reminder that what we choose to wear, even in jest, can have unexpected consequences, especially on a night like Halloween, when the lines between reality and the supernatural blur.
Okay, I'm officially creeped out by masks now. Maybe we should switch gears to something a little lighter. How about some cursed candy?
Ah, yes, the perennial Halloween fear. Though, it's worth noting that our research suggests actual cases of tampered candy are incredibly rare, bordering on statistically insignificant.
Right, statistically, you're more likely to get struck by lightning while dressed as a pumpkin than to find a razor blade in your candy apple. But still, that fear persists, doesn't it?
It does, absolutely. And I think it speaks to a very real anxiety, particularly in the US, where Halloween involves sending children out after dark to interact with strangers.
It's that fear of the unknown, of something sinister hiding in plain sight.
You just never know, right?
It's really effective, even if it's mostly unfounded. But let's be honest, we've all given that candy a second look, right? Just in case. Oh, absolutely. You have to check. Better safe than sorry. It's like that primal instinct
Right.
that something harmful could be lurking right there in front of us, disguised as something fun and innocent.
Yeah. It plays on those deep-seated fears.
And that fear, I think, is amplified when it comes to our kids.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about the safety of children here.
Exactly. It's a reminder that even in the midst of all the fun and celebration, a little bit of caution never hurts.
Speaking of things that go bump in the night, let's talk haunted houses.
Ooh, yes, haunted houses, a classic.
Our sources really hone in on how these stories often present houses as being more than just a physical space. You know, like they become gateways to something far more sinister.
Right, it's like they transcend their brick and mortar.
And get this, some legends actually claim certain houses are only haunted on Halloween night.
Oh, like specifically on Halloween, as if the veil between worlds is at its thinnest on that particular night.
So these houses basically become conduits for supernatural energy.
That's the idea. It's
Yeah.
like they're just lying dormant, waiting for Halloween night to unleash their full spooky potential.
Interesting. And what about these houses? What makes them different? Are they more prone to this because of their history or...
That's a good question. Our sources mention a few things, like sometimes it's tied to the history of the house itself.
like a tragic event?
Yeah, exactly. Or some kind of dark secret that happened within its walls. But other times it's less about the house's past and more about its location.
Location.
Like maybe it was built on an ancient burial ground, or it sits on a crossroads where ley lines converge.
Okay, now that's creepy.
Right, like there are these invisible energy fields that make these places more susceptible to supernatural activity.
I've heard of those, but never really put much stock in them.
I know, right? But then you hear these stories and you start to wonder.
So it's not just the houses themselves,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe the very ground they're built on.
Exactly. It's like those places become focal points for all sorts of weird, unexplained phenomena.
And that energy just seems to amplify on Halloween.
Especially on Halloween. Like it's this perfect storm of spooky conditions.
You know, while we were researching for this, we came across some particularly chilling variations on this whole haunted house theme.
Oh yeah, like what?
There's this one legend about a house where if you look into a certain mirror on Halloween night
Mm-hmm.
and your reflection doesn't mimic your movements,
Wait, what happens if your reflection doesn't move?
they say it means the house has claimed you.
No way, seriously.
Yeah, like your soul is trapped within its walls forever,
That is both terrifying and fascinating at the same time.
isn't it? It's those specific details, those little rules and warnings that make these legends so effective.
They give you chills, but they also make you wonder, what if? What if there's some truth to it?
Exactly. They provide a set of stakes, a sense that there are real consequences to navigating this world of shadows.
And it plays on that fear of the unknown, right? Like, we think we know these places, our homes, our streets, but what if there's more to them than meets the eye?
Right. And that maybe, just maybe, on Halloween night, that hidden layer is revealed.
It's both terrifying and exhilarating at the same time.
It is. And, you know, it's not just individual houses that capture this eerie fascination. Our sources also mention tales of entire neighborhoods becoming cursed or vanishing into thin air on Halloween.
Wait, like whole neighborhoods just disappear?
That's the legend. Imagine taking a wrong turn and ending up in a ghostly cul-de-sac, never to be seen again.
Okay, now that's just creepy.
Right. It's like those stories about sailors getting caught in a fog bank and emerging to find themselves in completely uncharted waters.
Except in this case, the fog is Halloween night itself.
Precisely. And that sense of disorientation, of losing your bearings in a place you thought you knew, that's a powerful fear to tap into.
Oh, absolutely. It makes you question everything.
It really does. It makes you wonder if we're ever truly safe, Or if there are always hidden forces at play just beyond our perception.
Which I think is part of the enduring appeal of these urban legends, right? They remind us that the world is a mysterious place, full of wonder, and yes, even a little bit of fear.
Absolutely. And they make us think twice about wandering down that dark alley, or knocking on the door of that creepy old house at the end of the street.
Or maybe even just answering the door on Halloween night.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you never know who or what might be on the other side.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder who or what is lurking out there, right?
Right.
It's like those stories are messing with our sense of security a bit.
It's true. But I think there's also something comforting about that in a weird way.
Really? How so?
Well, it reminds us that there are still mysteries in the world. Things we can't explain no matter how much we try.
I guess there's a certain beauty in that.
Right. It keeps things interesting.
It's like that old saying, there's a reason we tell spooky stories around a campfire in the dark.
Exactly. There's a certain thrill, a little shiver of fear that can be a powerful thing.
Before we started diving deep into this stuff, I have to admit I thought of urban legends as spooky fun, nothing more. But
Now you're seeing them in a whole new light.
totally. Like there's this whole other layer of meaning I never even considered.
And that's the thing about a truly compelling legend, isn't it?
What's that?
It stays with you. It lingers in the back of your mind
Yeah.
long after the story is told.
That's for sure. I know I'll be looking twice at every hitchhiker, every antique mask, every shadowy corner this Halloween.
Just in case.
Just in case.
But, it's not just about being scared, is it? It's about acknowledging the power of stories, of the traditions and beliefs that shape our understanding of the world, especially when we're talking about a night like Halloween, when that line between the real and the supernatural feels a little blurry.
Yeah, it's about embracing the mystery and wonder that this time of year brings.
And maybe, just maybe, it's about recognizing that some things are best left unexplained.
Ooh, okay. Now you're really giving me the chills.
Just a little Halloween spirit.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the heart of Halloween urban legends, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from all of this?
This Halloween, enjoy the festivities, indulge in the spooky fun. But remember that these tales we've been talking about, they're more than just entertainment. They offer a glimpse into our shared human experience. A reminder that even in our modern world, there's still room for a little bit of mystery, a healthy dose of caution, and a whole lot of wonder.
Well said. And hey, you never know. You might just have your own spooky encounter to share around the campfire next year.
Just remember, if you see a lone figure on a dark road this Halloween,
Don't pick them up.
unless, of course, they have a good ghost story to tell.
Happy Halloween, everyone.